Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's January 14th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, it's been quite a week. I don't know whether to say we've gotten in a little trouble this week, stirred up a ruckus. It's been a crazy week. I don't know if you've been paying any attention to some of these comments being posted on YouTube. I mean, God, like we're sitting here doing a fun, lighthearted show every day for the Canes Nation, reviewing the news of the day in, pretty mellow fashion. And man, there have been some hot buttons this week, whether it's been John Ruiz or, obviously the issue of elite prospects going to non-Power 5 schools. And so we might as well finish the week with a bang by introducing another one today. And that is, do the Miami Hurricanes really need a new stadium, whether it's a tropical park or anywhere else? And that's the subject that we're dealing with today in our Why at the U series as it continues. And a lot of different opinions on this, just like some of the other topics that we've had this week. And some people are dying to have a stadium down south at Tropical Park, and others are saying, wait a minute, what the heck's wrong with Hard Rock? Hard Rock's got great parking. It's got great access, off the highway. It's got great concessions. It's got, great seating, great hospitality areas. Hard Rock's one of the nicer stadiums in the country. And there's a reason why they keep bringing the playoff games and the Super Bowls and things like that to Hard Rock. And if you're going to build a stadium, Matt, down at Tropical Park, for example, that is going to make any kind of sense at all for the Hurricanes to move to, in my opinion, you're going to have to spend $1 billion. And, is John Ruiz going to put up that entire billion? I'm sorry, folks, I said the name again, but he's the guy that claims he's going to build the stadium. And is he really going to put up all that money? And is it going to be anywhere near as nice as Hard Rock? There's a lot of ifs in this situation. And Matt, it's certainly a worthy debate.
When we discussed this as one of the Why at the U series items, the first call I made was to CaneSport historian Jim Martz, who wrote a book about the on-campus football stadium that wasn't. They had, for those of you that don't know, in the 1920s, they were building, or they had the money in place to build a stadium, and they were actually modeling it on the Rose Bowl. How cool would it be if the Miami Hurricanes had a stadium like that in Coral Gables on campus? We wouldn't even have to have this discussion at all. It would be so cool to have a 50,000, 40, 50, 60,000 seat stadium, however they expanded it from the 1920s to what it would be now. I think that would have been amazing. And Jim Martz told me some of the history of it, which basically the money was in place to have it built. They had the approval to have it built, and then a hurricane hit. And my University of Miami was just starting. This was supposed to be part of the University of Miami being built. The hurricane wiped out what the University of Miami was already building for its structures, for its schools, and basically all the money that Miami had allotted to the stadium had to now go to rebuild the school. And so that hurricane, which Jim Martz apparently doesn't know the name of, I'm going to call it Hurricane Seminole, Hurricane Gator, whatever you want to call it, that hurricane ended the dream of an on-campus stadium. And to me, if you're going to spend $1 billion and have people have to drive anyway to a stadium that's not on campus, if it's not where Dolphin Stadium is, to me, I personally like Dolphin Stadium. I understand it's not near the University of Miami, but neither is Tropical Park. You still have to get in your car. You can't walk from campus there. And the nice thing about Dolphin Stadium is, forget it being the NFL stadium, which obviously is going to be hard to replicate that, right? But it also lets the Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach kids all go to games very easily. And if you are a big believer that building a program is based on recruiting, well, Palm Beach kids probably aren't going to see a lot of games on a Saturday afternoon, especially after a Friday night high school game, if they have to drive 2 hours, plus potentially, depending which part of Palm Beach it is, to get to downtown Miami or to get to Tropical Park or wherever they're going to build the stadium. I like the location of Dolphin Stadium. They built Dolphin Stadium there to attract all of South Florida. And University of Miami wants to be a South Florida team. So I don't understand the whole a stadium just for Miami. Look, I love the Orange Bowl as much as everyone else. I love the trough urinals. I loved how we'd sit in the press box, and when there was actually big games, that we'd be swaying in the press box. I mean, I literally wanted to cover games from the sidelines because when people started stamping their feet on those metal bleachers, the bleachers would shake, and we were at the top. The press box, it was almost like they decided to build just a little death trap at the top of the Orange Bowl to put all the evil media in. So that way, when everyone stamped their feet, all the evil media would sway and hopefully perish and plummet to their deaths. Because some of those games, I really thought we were gonna die. Some of the games I thought I might get a disease from being in the bathrooms. Other games I thought I'd die from being in the press box. It was a house of horrors. Like on Halloween, they should just open the Orange Bowl and let them play a game on Halloween because it was scary for opponents. It was also scary for media members. So.
The contaminated water used to start dripping from the upper deck.
Yes, listen, there were stains everywhere, like from bad water and bad sewage and bad plumbing. That's the city of Miami's fault, not University of Miami's fault. But anyway, listen, Miami had a chance to co-build a stadium at Tropical Park with FIU. They passed on it. I don't know that money can't be better spent. If Sir Ruiz wants to, I'm going to knight him. If Sir Ruiz wants to donate the money to Miami, basically, and give away the money to Miami for the betterment of Miami. If you're an administrator at Miami, you probably would say, hey, our football program's probably better off, Sir Ruiz, if you just put that money into NIL deals for all future 5-stars, and we'll win 10 a year, and you'll give them each $500,000 a year or whatever it's going to be, $100,000 a year, I don't know. With whatever the going rate is at Alabama and Texas A&M, we'll beat that rate with you, Sir Ruiz. That's probably how the money's best spent, considering you got a state-of-the-art stadium that draws all 3 counties of high school prospects. That's just me. I know some fans want it closer to their homes. It'd certainly be better for me. It's 10 minutes up the road. I live off Bird Road practically as it is, just the other side of US 1, but still, it's not far from me. So I'd rather it's there, but for the betterment of the program, I think put that money towards NIL or something else.
But I just want to note for a lot of the people that care about this out there that I just let you speak for a good 4
And I knew you were doing that. I knew you wanted to cut me off like 10 different times. I knew it.
I didn't say a word, man. I just let you go.
Just cut me off.
And there was one guy.
Don't be scared of the haters, Gary. Don't let the haters win.
There was one guy on YouTube that I promised that I would allow you to speak 3 times as much as me on today's show.
I thought you were joking. I can't talk.
Oh,
listen,
no, I gotta live up to my promises. But anyway,
what the people on YouTube don't understand is I have nothing to say. What I say is half the time it's nonsense. You want me to have to say 3 times more than 1 time of nonsense every single time I talk on this show? No, we'd have no viewership. It would be ridiculous.
They love you, man. I've seen you. I saw you called so many things in the last 24 hours. I mean, people love their Matt Shodell. But anyway, I remember sitting in Howard Schnellenberger's office in 1979, and he had renderings for a stadium. And
oh yeah, that's awesome. Right, that's in the story too. Right.
Yeah, very much like Mario Cristobal coming in. Howard was coming in at that point, and every coach wants a new stadium. And I'm sure
on
Mario
campus, he put it on campus, by the way.
Yeah, he wanted to put it on campus. It was never going to happen. But look, if you can't put it on campus, and you are going to build a stadium, Tropical Park's the location. But I think you make a great point in that if it's not on campus, does it really matter? And is it worth losing some of your Broward Palm Beach market? Is it worth losing recruits from north of Miami coming to games possibly and things like that? There's a lot of positive and negatives to everything. And if the money ends up being in place, I think it's something that they'll explore, but I don't think it's something they have to have. You know what I would like to see first, Matt? I would like to see a quality football team in Hard Rock Stadium. Hard Rock's, I mean, other than that little flash in 2017, neither the Dolphins or the Hurricanes have put a good team in Hard Rock Stadium.
Well, that Notre Dame game shows you what it can be in that stadium, because that was as intimidating an atmosphere as, I don't want to compare it to the Orange Bowl, but I mean, it was
Orange Bowl-esque. It absolutely was Orange Bowl-esque.
Yes.
So anyway, what do you guys think about this stadium issue? We'll create a a thread on the message boards to go along with our story today, and let you guys state your opinions on what you think. Do you want a stadium? Do you not want a stadium? Do you like Hard Rock? Do you not like Hard Rock? It'll be interesting to see what those responses are. I think Matt and I kind of agree that it's not a necessary tool that Miami needs to succeed in football. It might be a convenience if it's built good enough, but $1 billion is a lot of money. And I'm not sure that John Ruiz can't walk and chew gum at the same time if he chooses. But if he's going to try to build that himself, $1 billion, I don't care if he makes $20 billion like it's suggested. Still a lot of money. So,
hey, by the way, speaking of John Ruiz, I'm pretty sure I saw his car yesterday. Can you put that picture up that I sent you, Gary?
Oh shoot!
You want me to send it to you again?
Yeah, I got it. No, I got it. I just need a minute here, and I will.
I got a freelance for another minute.
Yeah. Just keep everybody entertained for about 30 seconds while I get that up.
All right. Well, I'll give everyone a stone crab update then. So my stone crab buddy got COVID. So we missed our last. We try to go every 2 to 3 weeks. We missed our last window. The wind's been awful. The wind basically dictates if you can stone crab in the bay because we got a small boat, man. We're not rich people. We're just your average stone crabber out there hacking away at the claws. So I'm hoping we're gonna make a trip. We're trying to make a trip midweek this week in the afternoon. We have stone crabbed it in like the dusk. I've never stone crabbed at night, and I have no desire to do that. But we have a few traps out there. If we get started too late, might be stone crabbing at night. It's going to be very exciting. Might lose a finger. I might look like this afterwards. Is that right? Yeah, I might look like that. If I lose a finger, I'll be sure to let everybody know. That's my excitement. Did you find the picture yet? Because that's all my.
I got it. Yeah. So anyway, just set the stage. So Matt's driving around town with his windows down today, thinking about how much he loves John Ruiz and everything John Ruiz is going to do for the Miami community and the Miami Hurricanes in particular. And he happens upon a relatively nice car driving up the street that looks like this.
So now can I take the story from here, Gary?
You got it.
All
it's
right.
a Mercedes.
Yeah. So I race to see who's driving the car. I look in the window, and it's Blake James. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't catch up to the car. I have no idea.
That's a low blow, man. I thought we weren't going to mention. I thought we said we weren't going to mention that name.
Oh, I'm not allowed to mention his name either.
You could have made anybody. Manny Diaz could have been the punchline. I mean, we made a commitment that we were not going to say those names on the show.
Oh, it was a different Blake James, not the Blake James you're thinking of, Gary. You're so rude. Not that one. It was a different Blake James. But yeah, I actually saw. I was behind this car. I don't understand. Like, I get it. The guy, maybe he's a lawyer. Maybe he's made his money in fraud cases or Medicare fraud, prosecuting it. I don't know. But why would you pay to have your Hurricanes license plate and then put the fraud right next to it? It sends a certain message, don't you think, Gary?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It doesn't seem like a positive message. Like, if you put a picture of, let's say, Donald Trump's face where the Hurricane ibis is, and you put fraud next to it, what would people think? They think you're anti-Trump. You can put Joe Biden's picture and put fraud. They'll think you're anti-Biden. So I don't understand why somebody would pay, what is it, $75, $150 to get the Hurricane license plate and then put fraud next to it. I don't understand. So if anyone on this, out of these thousands of people who watch this, apparently, according to Gary, I don't know, if any of you know whose car this is, I actually want to do a story on this guy. So send me his information. I would do a front page story on CaneSport. I promise you, if you know whose license plate it is, I promise you, we will do a story on the owner of that car. So let us know.
Yeah. Well, if you have access to the motor vehicle registry, and
whatever, go to work.
Look up the license tag fraud and let us know who it is. Is that legal? Is it legal to look that up? If somebody has access, can they look up somebody's license plate?
Someone works at DMV and
did I hope I didn't just ask somebody
I don't care.
To commit a crime, but
it's not illegal for me to find out the information from somebody else who did it illegally, is it? No, that's like what all these leakers do. They give us the information illegally.
All right.
I know that's your car, Gary. Fess up.
Anyway, yeah, a lot of people would agree with that. Unfortunately, I don't know. There's like so many haters out there.
I mean, you should see my face when I'm just sitting at my light. And this was like 3 blocks from my house. And I'm like on my phone because I know I shouldn't be texting in my car. My kids yell at me every time, but I'm stopped at a light. Is it illegal if you're stopped at a light, not moving, to look at your phone really quickly? Is that illegal? I don't know. I think maybe
People
it
hate
is.
that.
But I happened to do it. I'm sorry. And then I look up, and if you could have, if there was a traffic camera that you could get the footage of to see my face when I saw this license plate in front of me, it was like just utter disbelief, shock, and then just sort of amusement, all wrapped into one. I couldn't even make the face for you right now if I tried, but it was like all like boom, boom, boom within a split second. All those emotions of, is this a joke? Is this a Hurricane fan? Like, what is this? I was totally confused.
Totally bizarre. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the other news of the day. And Matt, running back Henry Parish played at Miami Columbus, went to Ole Miss. He's in the portal, went in the portal last night. I think he's going to be a Miami Hurricane. And I know the topic of debate is why? Like, why would Miami need another running back? And you and I talked about this the other day. Here's why. Don Chaney has always been hurt. Going back to his senior year of high school, he's been hurt as a Miami Hurricane 2 years in a row. There is no evidence that Don Chaney has any durability whatsoever and can hold up over an entire season. That's number one. Jalen Knighton is a change of pace back. Jalen Knighton is not a guy that can be a workhorse by himself. He can, but you're going to get him beat up. He's going to lose his effectiveness. Jalen Knighton is most effective as a change of pace back, used primarily in the passing game because he's electric out there in the open field. His talent gets negated running up the middle. Okay. Cody Brown is just a guy. I mean, I hope his mom and dad aren't watching. I hope Cody's not Cody. No disrespect, man. But like, Cody Brown's not a franchise running back. And Thaddeus Franklin, the coaches never hardly felt comfortable last year putting him on the field because his practice habits and things were so bad. And the reviews there are not glowing, even though to the naked eye, he didn't look too bad when he was in games. But the bottom line is, if you're Mario Cristobal coming in here and you're thinking, I want to win the ACC in year one, you need to get better everywhere. And I talked about this before he was even hired. I mean, there is not a position on this team, really. I mean, you might make an exception for quarterback, but there's not a position on this team that should be considered all set, that it can't be improved. And I think that's why they're looking at Henry Parish. And I think Henry Parish is going to be a Miami Hurricane. And I think he will be a rotation guy next year. Matt, you have any thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts. Thank you for asking, Gary. You're very considerate.
Let me start my stopwatch because I think I just talked for about a minute.
You got 3 minutes?
You got at least 3. Yeah, go.
So nice of you to let me speak. I really appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to read you guys. So I keep a file on every recruit. What?
I got it going, man. Let's go. You just wasted 6
Don't
seconds.
time me. It's going to take more than 3 minutes, okay?
Good, I got you. Go ahead.
Now you got to add a minute. You just wasted my first minute. Anyway, so I keep a file on every guy. That's just what I do. I'm sure that's what every reporter does. Every time I talk to Henry Parish, I make a note. Every time I talk to any recruit, I made a note. My son, who's a big sports fan, loves it because I could look back. The other day, I was telling him, like, Hunter Henry, for instance. I did stories on Hunter Henry. I didn't even remember he was a Miami Hurricane recruit. I did like 3 stories on him. He got an offer. Miami was recruiting him. So like, there's all these players I don't even remember them who are now in the NFL and big time who I didn't even remember Miami recruited. Henry Parish is a kid Miami really didn't recruit. That's what's weird. The previous staff, the coach who shall not be named, they did originally offer him in 2018. Okay, he was a 2020 prospect, but it wasn't like a real offer. And then by 2019, they stopped talking to him entirely. This is Trajan Bandy's cousin. This is a buddy of Don Chaney. And this is a guy who was begging for a Miami offer. Literally, he was calling the coaches to see if they would offer him. He ran for 324 yards his senior year against Berlin, and they still wouldn't offer him. And the reason being, he was 175 pounds, 5'9", 175 pounds in high school. I don't have his updated height and weight, but I know he was 4th on his own team this past season rushing, including behind a quarterback. So I guess the 3rd running back. He had a couple of nice games. He had a 100-yard game against Arkansas, and I think the prior year he had like an 80-yard game and a couple of touchdowns against LSU, which is super impressive. But that notwithstanding, so he was maybe in line to be the starter at Ole Miss this year. And then Ole Miss brought in a transfer, I think from I think from TCU, who is probably going to be the starter. And so Henry Parish entered the transfer portal. I agree with Gary. I think it makes sense for him to come to Miami. His running backs coach from Ole Miss is now here. He always wanted to be here. It's home. He went to Miami Columbus, of course. So, like, it makes sense for him to be here. What I don't love about it is, like Gary said, he's going to be a rotation guy. Like, Ole Miss brought in their transfer to be the guy. I would love to bring in a transfer to be the guy and let Jalen Parish be the third down back and the receiving back. I know everyone loves Jalen Knight, and I'm just saying, if you can get a guy better than him as a running back, great. But, like, to have a guy who's sort of the same as everyone you have, nothing special, like, I want that game-breaking guy. Like I was telling Gary earlier today, we were talking about maybe some Oregon kids that would come to Miami, like with this Oregon running back, went in the portal, left and went out of the portal, went back in the portal, and withdrew from the portal again. And I said to Gary, this kid Dollars, I think is his name, a running back. I said to Gary, I said, like, I don't want Oregon backups on Miami. Like, that's not what I don't want this to be Oregon South. I want this to be the Miami Hurricanes. The University of Miami should be recruiting better players than Mario was able to get at Oregon. He's got the local ties. He's got the world at his disposal, so to speak, because he's in South Florida now. In Oregon, you're getting talent from like California, out-of-state places. He's got it right here. Like, why waste your time on those guys? So I get it. The roster needs to be fair.
All right, you're past 3 minutes. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why.
To say before
you didn't look deep enough on Sean Dollars, and Sean Dollars would have been a good take. He's a really good running back. He was hurt last year, which is why you didn't hear anything about him. And Oregon had a guy named Dye who was like a Jalen Knighton clone, and they also had a guy named C.J. Verdell that was a total stud. So that's why Dollars was kind of like overshadowed out at Oregon, but he was a young kid. I think he was in his third year of college. He was a sophomore, and he would have been a good take and there was a reason why he went in and out of the portal so quick. It's because Oregon put NIL deal together to keep him, and that's why. All right, so sorry to interrupt you, but you were going 4 minutes, so like I had a little bit of time coming, but go ahead, now finish.
So here's the problem. Like, if he's the guy, I get it. You take Henry Parish. If they see him as the third running back probably this year, this kid's got 3 years of eligibility left. So he's one of these kids that I'm not thrilled about taking anybody who's not a one and done because of their problems with the 85 number and the huge amount of local talent in 2023 and 2024. So now you're going to have all the young running backs, I assume, would come back. There's going to be 5 of them. All right. So now you take maybe one running back in 2023. There might be a couple that want to come. Like Richard Young and Mark Fletcher right now are very high on Miami. You don't take another, you take a one and done and you have room for 2 more. Like, you're not going to carry 7 running backs on your roster. Like, you can cut a running back. I get it. But it's like, I don't know that you do that to a Cody Brown or a Thaddeus Franklin or, like, I don't know what you do. I just would rather they are taking a lot of one and dones as transfers. That's just in general. If this guy is going to be the guy and he's going to be amazing, absolutely you take a guy with that many years of eligibility left. But if they seem like you said he's a rotation guy, not for me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I love the kid. I talked to him a million times when he's been recruited. Love the kid. Super nice kid. And by the way, we have reached out to him to see, what his plans are, and he hasn't responded. Of course, we reach out. We don't hammer the kids, as you guys know from our story that we told about the kid in California. We call him a couple of times, text him a couple of times. They don't respond. Like, that's it. We move on. But yes, that I said my piece, Gary. Go at it.
Well, I was just looking at. Well, you know what? I'm not going to go there. But no, like, listen, I think it's a good thing that they're picking up kids in the portal. I think that getting another running back is a good move. I'm all in support of it. And like I said, I think that there are a lot of positions. Maybe only quarterback is the only position that I would not be looking to fortify in the portal right now. And that's because Jake Garcia said he's coming back to be with Tyler Van Dyke, and Ja'Cory Brown's coming in. You got 3 guys that have a chance to be really, really good. Plus, you got Peyton Matosha back, and you got some walk-ons and things like that. So, but the portal to me is really important, and I think Henry Parish is going to be a Miami Hurricane. All right, moving on here. We've got a few recruiting stories on the website today, as always. Continuing to let you get to know primarily these 2023 kids, because there's just not a lot of 2022 kids, and we can't keep writing about the same kids over and over again every single
We
day.
can. It wouldn't be very interesting.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very interesting. Exactly. So we there have been a lot of 2023 offers going out. We've been trying to let you guys get familiar with some of these kids that are going to be recruited in the next cycle. Today we talk about a Texas standout who's been reoffered by the Canes. He's a 2023 cornerback by the name of Chance Rucker. So you'll get to learn a little bit about him. There's another one called, also from Texas, a 2023 offensive guard by the name of Marcus Deal. We give you a story on him as well. And then there are going to be some visitors on campus this weekend. We have a story on them. It's kind of gotten pared down a little bit. Offensive lineman Dave Iuli is coming in this weekend. There was a defensive lineman by the name of Grayson Halton from San Diego that had been an Oregon commit that was supposed to come in. He has now changed plans and will not be coming in. Just got word on that. So you could scratch him from your list, those of you that like to keep a list. Offensive lineman Matthew McCoy is scheduled on campus. A couple unofficial visitors, defensive end Jack Pyburn from Jacksonville. You've heard us talk a lot about him in the last week. He's coming down to meet the new coaches, and the flirtation with him in Miami is very strong. We think that he is going to end up in this signing class. And then another guy that supposedly is going to pass through campus at some point this weekend, we'll see if that happens, and that's Shamar Stewart. You obviously know who he is, and things have been going very, very well for Miami in the last week or so, and Shamar supposedly will make an unofficial trip to Miami to get to know the coaches as well. So that's going to do it for today. We're still on coordinator watch, everybody. I mean, any minute we're expecting an announcement on who the coordinators are going to be.
Yeah, by the way, what's your take on the holdup? I'm just curious what you think.
On the what?
The holdup. Holdup on the hire.
My take on the holdup is that Mario Cristobal went through a first round of interviews, and yeah, he could have hired guys, but I don't think anybody blew him away. And I don't think there was a slam dunk, 100% foolproof option for him on either side of the ball. So I think he decided to continue the search. There's guys getting fired in the National Football League every day. Coaching staffs are changing. More guys are becoming available. Maybe he's taking a shot at some other guys. I mean, you don't ever know what a coach is thinking and how he's getting along with his head coach, or whether he wants to live in a certain area above another. Maybe some guy wants to come live in South Florida. Who knows? So I think what's happened is that Mario has expanded the search. I think he's talking to a lot of people, and I don't know anymore what his timeline is. I mean, I thought he was going to have named somebody by now, and he doesn't seem under pressure about it. I don't think it's critical to this weekend's visits. I mean, really, if you look at the visit list for this weekend, the important visitors, Dave Iuli, he's an offensive lineman. It's important. The thing that makes him important is Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal. Okay, so that's not a big deal. Same with Matthew McCoy. So those are two offensive linemen that they could probably this weekend without a coordinator. So I don't think he's under pressure here. I think he's going to want to have coordinators in place next week, though, when they have that elite prospect camp and a lot of kids coming in. He's going to make sure he has coordinators by then, I would think.
I mean, I have mixed feelings. Obviously, I agree with you 100%. The fact he hasn't hired either coordinator makes me think there's just not a really obvious choice for him right now, which is not a great sign. But I think
it's a good sign, Matt.
Well, that's what I was about to ask.
Because Manny Diaz,
if you let me finish,
you said it's not a good sign. I'm saying it is a good sign. I'm allowed to interrupt every now and then. It is a good sign because he could be Manny Diaz hiring Dan Enos.
Correct. Too. That's what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
That's what exactly you took the words out of my mouth. I said the silver lining is he's not rushing into hiring somebody that he doesn't want, which is a sign of a good coach. You just didn't let me say it.
Well, I think Manny Diaz wanted Dan Enos. It just ended up being a mistake. And
you never want to forget that example. Okay, forget that example.
It's a great example.
You don't just want to rush to hire someone on a timeline because they have recruits coming in. You gotta wait and make sure you're getting the best guy. It's like if you're I hate bad analogies, but like if you're buying a house and you have to be out of your house a certain time, because this happened to me. You have to be out of your house because you sold your house a certain time and you got to move into a new house. Do you like rush to buy the first house that you know you can get into by that date? Or do you buy the best deal on the best house you can get, even if you have to move into a hotel for 3 months? Like, that's the choice. To me, you wait the 3 months and you're building for the long term. Mario Cristobal's building for the long term. So the negative is, obviously he doesn't have a home run hire at this point. The positive is he didn't freak out and say, oh my God, we got recruits coming in. I'll just take whoever. I'll take the best available right now. So that's what I was trying to say, Gary. You interrupted me, but I think we're both on the same page.
You didn't throw in, you asked John Ruiz if he could stay in his basement for a couple months.
John told me you're already there. He said it's an open floor plan. There wouldn't be room for me.
Can I tell, before we go here, can I tell one quick little John Ruiz story? Because, we've beaten the subject up on this show, no argument.
Hey, if you want to get a million people posting tomorrow about John Ruiz, go ahead and tell the story.
Well, we've had different opinions and stuff, but I do want to point out this.
Mine's not an opinion. I just report what I say. This is a problem. Hold on. People think this is my opinion, that I don't like John Ruiz. Nothing could be further from the truth. I don't know the guy. I hope what he's saying is true. What I'm telling you is just what I am hearing. Like, people are thinking this is my opinion. I keep trying to tell people, no, this is what people are literally calling and telling me about the guy. And I'm just expressing it to you sort of in basic terms as fans.
Well,
that's all. Anyway, go ahead.
Yesterday, I talked about how people are reaching out to him on Twitter. And on Twitter, he saw a video about that this charter school for autistic kids needed help. And John Ruiz stepped in and made a donation to the autistic charter school. So, he says he's out there trying to help people. And like I said, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt until I have a reason not to. And I'm seeing a guy that's trying to do a lot of good. He made a donation last week to Westminster Christian, I think it was. And he's sending checks to a lot of different places. And if he's going to do $10 million
hold on. Do you have proof he's sending checks? That's true?
No.
There's no proof. He's sending checks.
You're absolutely right.
There
was proof.
Because I want him to start sending checks. When he starts sending checks, I'm going to say this guy's for real. I just haven't seen him send any big checks yet. That's why I was curious.
Yeah.
That's the issue. The issue to me is
no. In this case, there's proof because there's a mom thanking him on Twitter
for
with
pledging.
Her son. A mom and her son made a video thanking John Ruiz for the donation.
And he better make. Listen, I don't care if he's. I care if he screws Miami, but you don't screw an autistic school that you promised to help. So I can't imagine.
No, I can't imagine the donation apparently, and they were thanking him on Twitter last night. So listen, hopefully that benevolence and generosity continues, and hopefully the 10 million is there for NIL at Miami.
Listen, my grandmother ran an autistic school only for autistic children way back in the day. On Long Island. So he better, if he doesn't come through with that money that he promised, every cent of it, I'm going to be personally very upset. But
they're already thanking him for it. So he must have already written the check. All right. That's going to do it for today. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday morning to wrap up the news of the weekend and see what's going on. Maybe we'll know coordinators by then. Who knows? In the meantime, enjoy yourselves no matter what you do throughout South Florida and beyond. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you Monday, everybody.